Excerpt from a local newspaper. Anonymous unknown killer is still at large. After weeks of unexplained murders, the anonymous unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states he has survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells his story. "I had a bad dream and I woke up in the middle of the night," says the boy. "I saw that for some reason the window was open, even though I remember it being closed before I went to bed. I got up and shut it once more. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to get back to sleep. That's when I had a strange feeling, like someone was watching me. I looked up and nearly jumped out of my bed. There, in the little ray of light illuminating from between my curtains, were a pair of 2 eyes. They weren't regular eyes, they were dark, ominous eyes. They were bordered in black and just plain out terrified me. That's when I saw his mouth, a long, horrendous smile that made every hair on my body stand up. The figure stood there, watching me. Finally, after seeming what like forever, he said it, a simple phrase, but said it in a way only a madman could speak. He said, 'Go to sleep.' I let out a scream. That's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife, aiming at my heart. He jumped on top of my bed. I fought him back. I kicked, I punched, I rolled around, trying to knock him off me. That's when my dad burst in. The man threw the knife. It went into my dad's shoulder. The man probably would have finished him off if one of the neighbours hadn't alerted the police. They drove into the parking lot and ran towards the door. The man turned and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash like glass breaking. As I came out of my room, I saw the window that was pointed towards the back of my house was broken. I looked out of it and see him vanishing into the distance. I can tell you one thing. I will never forget that face. Those cold, evil eyes. That psychotic smile. They will never leave my head. Police are still on the look for this man. If you see anyone that fits the description in this story, please contact your local police department." Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighbourhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighbourhoods. Jeff and his brother Lou couldn't complain. A new, better house. What was not to love? As they were getting unpacked, one of the neighbours came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you. Well, I just wanted to introduce myself and to introduce my son." She turned around to call over her son. "Billy, these are our new neighbours." Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard. "Well," said Jeff's mum, "I'm Margaret, and this is my husband Peter, and my 2 sons, Jeff and Lou." They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. Jeff and his brother were about to object when the mother said that they would love to. When Jeff and his family had done packing, Jeff went up to his mum. "Mum, why would you invite us to some kid's party? If you haven't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid." "Jeff," said his mother, "we just moved here. We should show that we want to spend time with our neighbours. Now, we're going to that party, and that's final." Jeff started to talk, but stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whenever his mum said something, it was final. He walked up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there looking at his ceiling, when suddenly he got a weird feeling. Not so much a pain, but a weird feeling. He dismissed it as just some random feeling. He heard his mother call him down to get his stuff, and he walked down to get it. The next day, Jeff walked downstairs to get his breakfast and get ready for school. As he sat there eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling. This time it was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain, but he once again dismissed it. As he and Lou finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus stop. They sat there waiting for the bus, and then, all of a sudden, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. They both jumped back in surprise. "Hey, what the hell?" The kid landed and turned back to them. He kicked his skateboard up and caught it in his hands. The kid seemed to be about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears a Europastale shirt and ripped blue jeans. Well, it looks like we've got some new meat." Suddenly, 2 other kids appeared. One was super skinny and the other was huge. "Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there is Keith." Jeff and Lou looked over to the skinny kid. He had a dopey face that you would expect a sidekick to have. "And here's Troy." They looked over at the fat kid. Talk about a tub of lard. This kid looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling. "And I," said the first kid, "am Randy. Now, for all the kids in this neighbourhood, there is a small price for the bus fare, if you catch my drift." Lou stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes, when one of his friends pulled a knife on him. "Tusk, tusk, tusk. I had hoped you would be more cooperative, but it seems we must do this the hard way." The kid walked up to Lou and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got that feeling again. Now it was truly strong, a burning sensation. He stood up, but Lou gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid. "Listen here, you little punk. Give back my bro's wallet or else." Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife. "Oh, and what will you do?" Just as he finished the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it. Randy screamed and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. Keith dropped his knife and fell to the ground, screaming. Troy rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach and Troy went down. As he fell, he puked all over. Lou could do nothing but look in amazement at Jeff. "Jeff, how'd you—" That was all he said. They saw the bus coming and knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing, so they started running as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. As Jeff and Lou made it to school, they didn't dare tell what happened. All they did was sit and listen. Lou just thought of that, as his brother beating up a few kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary. As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was. The urge to just hurt someone. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help feeling happy. He felt that feeling go away, and stay away from the entire day of school, even as he walked home due to the whole thing near the bus stop, and how now he probably wouldn't be taking the bus anymore. He felt happy. When he got home, his parents asked him how his day was, and he said in a somewhat ominous voice, "It was a wonderful day." Next morning he heard a knock at his front door. He walked down to find 2 police officers at the door, his mother looking back at him with an angry look. "Jeff, these officers tell me that you attacked 3 kids, that it wasn't regular fighting, that they were stabbed. Stabbed, son!" Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that it was true. "Mum, they were the ones who pulled the knives on me and Lou." "Son," said one of the cops, "we found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise on his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now, what does that tell us?" Jeff knew it was no use. He could say that him and Lou had been attacked, but then there was no proof it was not them who attacked first. They couldn't say they weren't fleeing because truth be told they were, so Jeff couldn't defend himself or Lou. "Son, calm down, your brother." Jeff couldn't do it. It was him who beat up all the kids. "Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids. Lou tried to hold me back, but he couldn't stop me." The cop looked at his partner and they both nod. "Well, kid, looks like a year in jury." "Wait," says Lou. They all looked up to see him holding a knife. The officers pulled their guns and locked them on Lou. "It was me. I beat up those little punks. Have the marks to prove it." He lifted up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises, as if there was a struggle. "Son, just put the knife down," said the officer. Lou held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. He put his hands up and walked over to the cops. "No, Lou, it was me. I did it." Jeff had tears running down his face. "Huh, poor bro, trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, take me away." The police led Lou out to the patrol car. "Lou, tell them it was me. Tell them. I was the one who beat up those kids." Jeff's mother put her hands on his shoulder. "Jeff, please, you don't have to lie. We know it's Lou. You can stop." Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car speeds off with Lou inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad pulled into the driveway, seeing Jeff's face and knowing something was wrong. Son, what is it?" Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were strained from crying. Instead, Jeff's mother walked his father inside to break the bad news to him, as Jeff wept in the driveway. After an hour or so, Jeff walked back into the house, seeing that his parents were both shocked, sad and disappointed. He couldn't look at them. He couldn't see how they thought of Lou when it was his fault. He just went to sleep, trying to get the whole thing off his mind. 2 days went by, with no word from Lou at JDC, no friends to hang out with, nothing but sadness and guilt. That is until Saturday, when Jeff is woke up by his mother, with a happy sunshiny face. "Jeff, it's the day," she said as she opened up the curtains and let light flood in his room. What's the day?" asked Jeff as he stirs awake. "Why, it's Billy's party." He was now fully awake. "Mum, you're joking, right? You don't expect me to go to some kid's party after..." There was a long pause. "Jeff, we both know what happened. I think this party could be the thing that brightens up the past days. Now, get dressed." They crossed the street over to Barbara and Billy's house. Suddenly, Randy, Troy and Keith all jumped over the fence on their skateboards. "Hello, Jeff is it?" he said. "We have some unfinished business." Jeff saw his bruised nose. "I think we're even. I beat the crap out of you, and you got my brother sent to JDC. Randy got an angry look in his eyes. "Oh no, I don't go for even. I go for winning. You may have kicked our asses that one day, but not today." Jeff got thrown into the living room. "Come on, Jeff, look at me. I was the one who got your brother sent to JDC, and now you're just going to sit here and let him rot in there for a whole year. You should be ashamed." Randy runs at Jeff. That's when it happens. Something inside Jeff snaps. His psyche is gone. All rational thinking is also gone. All he can do is kill. He grabs Randy and pile drives him to the ground. He gets on top of him and punches him straight in the heart. The punch causes Randy's heart to stop. As Randy gasps for breath, Jeff hammers down on him, punch after punch. Blood gushes from Randy's body until he takes one final breath and dies. Troy and Keith point their guns at Jeff. Jeff sees the guns trained on him and runs to the stairs. As he runs, Troy and Keith let out fire on him. Each shot misses. Jeff runs up the stairs. He hears Troy and Keith follow behind. As they let out their final shots, Jeff ducks into the bathroom. A thing of bleach fell down on top of him from the top shelf. It burnt both of them, and they both started to scream. As he lay there bleeding to death, he let out an ominous smile. "What's so funny?" asked Jeff. Keith pulled out a lighter and switched it on. "What's funny," he said, "is that you're covered in bleach and alcohol." Jeff's eyes widened as Keith threw the lighter at him. As soon as the flame made contact with him, the flames ignited the alcohol in the vodka. While the alcohol also burned him, the bleach bleached his skin. Jeff let out a terrible screech as he caught on fire. He tried to roll out the fire, but it was no use. The alcohol made him a walking inferno. He fell down the stairs, dropped to the ground nearly dead. The last thing Jeff saw was his mother and other parents trying to extinguish the flame. Then he passed out. When Jeff woke, he couldn't see anything. Finally, he heard his mother. "Honey, are you okay?" she asked. Jeff couldn't answer though. His face was covered and he was unable to speak. "Oh honey, I have great news. After all the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed to trying to attack you, they decided to let Lou go. He'll be out by tomorrow. Then you two will be able to be together again." The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. Then came the day where his bandages were to be removed. His family were all there to see it, what he would look like. As the doctors unwrapped the bandages from Lou's face, everyone was on the edge of their seats. They waited until the last bandage holding the cover of his face was removed. "Let's hope for the best," said the doctor. He quickly pulls the cloth, letting the rest fall from Jeff's face. Jeff's mother screams at the sight of his face. Lou and Jeff's dad stare awestruck at his face. What's happened?" He looked in the mirror and saw the cause of the distress. His face. It's horrible. "Jeff, it's not that bad." "Not bad?" said Jeff. "It's perfect." Jeff, are you okay?" "Okay? I've never felt more happy." "Look at me. His face goes perfectly with me." He couldn't stop laughing. "Doctor, is my son alright? You know, in the head." "Oh yes, this behaviour is typical for patients that have been taken very large amounts of painkillers. If his behaviour doesn't change in a few weeks, bring him back in and we'll give him a psychological test." "Oh, thank you, doctor. Jeff, sweetie, it's time to go." Later that night, Jeff's mother woke to a sound coming from the bathroom. It sounded as if someone was crying. She slowly walked over there to see what it was. When she looked into the bathroom, she saw a horrendous sight. Jeff had taken a knife and carved a smile into his cheeks. "Jeff, what are you doing?" asked his mother. Jeff looked over to his mother. "I couldn't keep smiling, Mummy. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever." Jeff's mother noticed his eyes, ringed in black.
Jeff, your eyes! His eyes were seemingly never closing. I couldn't see my face. I got tired and my eyes started to close. I burned out the eyelids so I could forever see myself, my new face. Jeff's mother slowly started to back away, seeing that her son was going insane. What's wrong, Mummy? Aren't I beautiful? Yes, son, she said. Yes, you are. Let me go get Daddy, so he can see your face. She ran into the room and shook Jeff's dad from his sleep. Honey, get the gun, She stopped as she saw Jeff in the doorway holding a knife. Mummy, you lied. That's the last thing they hear as Jeff rushes them with the knife, cutting both of them. His brother Lou woke up, startled by some noise. He didn't hear anything else, so he just shut his eyes and tried to go back to sleep. As he was on the border of slumber, he got the strangest feeling that someone was watching him. He looked up. Before Jeff's hand covered his mouth, he slowly raised the knife ready to plunge it into Lou. Lou thrashed here and there, trying to escape Jeff's grip. Shush, Jeff said. Just go to sleep.